The following content is sponsored and does not necessarily reflect the views of WATD Radio. Now, Paul Ponders on 95.9 WATD. Be a part of the show. Call or text 781-837-4900. Now, here's your host, Paul Solano.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome, and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for your dogs, kids, and ugly neighbors. My name is Paul Solano of the PNS All Marketing Group. Sorry about that. Season number 2 is here. We made it through 52 shows in season number 1. I'm excited to bring you another great season with my network of very knowledgeable contributors. We will continue to keep it real, hot and timely, as much as a South Shore, Cape and the Islands type based show, and hopefully full of Paul pondering thoughts. And as you probably already know, I also wear another hat as general manager of Pearl Street Station Restaurant in Malden. And a huge shout out to Chef Felipe Fitzpatrick and his culinary team. Chef Felipe is a loyal listener through the Odyssey app. So hello to Chef Felipe. And as always, we have lots of activity at Pearl Street Station this busy holiday party weekend. And I know that I always say it, but it is true. As Malden's longest running restaurant of 40 years, we have incredible staying power in the greater Boston area and the North Shore. Please venture over the Zakin Bridge and visit us. And we recently had a visit from a family of 8 from Carver who visited us on a trip to Bodeborg to Malden Square. And as you have, if you haven't heard, Bodeborg is a concept that came out of Sweden. I invite you to check it out. It's a great basis for the Malden Gaming District, and it's the first of its kind in the United States. And it's a great questing experience venue, and it's a lot of fun. So greetings to that family of 8 from Carver for coming all the way over the Zakin Bridge and joining us. And, of course, a huge shout-out to my team of Chef Felipe, Chef Joaquin, and Pitiola Muhammad for holding down the fort with my grade 1209 staff of John, Jen, Nicole, Dennis, and Jesse, who is coming in at 2:45 for a family reunion that we have in our sports bar area. Now, as I stated earlier, it is season 2 and show number 1, and it is an absolute honor and pleasure to be on WATD in the slot of The Boiling Point with Arthur Boyle. Arthur is my executive consultant of the Paul Ponders radio show, and Arthur has introduced me to many people through the past few years that I've been involved with The Boiling Point and also with this show. And he introduced me to Kathleen Keegan, who is a realtor of K. Keegan Realty and the creator of a local Pembroke newsletter. And we'll be having Kathleen on in a week or two to talk about all the great things going on in Pembroke. But Kathleen will be able to talk about her wonderful expertise and enthusiasm that she shares, and also to her husband, Sean, is on the Pembroke Select Board. So a shout out to the Keegan family, and many thanks to them for all the great work that they do in the community. But with us behind the glass is Tim, and Tim is calling. Tim behind the glass. He's just getting Shelley on cue, but we'll in fact invite.
Hello, good afternoon, Paul Solano.
Hello there, Tim McKenney.
Hello.
How are you this fine day?
I'm great. Another Saturday. We're here.
Absolutely, in season 2.
Yes, season 2. You got a renewal. Congratulations.
Thank
no,
you.
Just kidding. You wouldn't be canceled. No way. No way.
Well, you never know. Anything could happen.
No, you won't be canceled. Because not necessarily radio shows, but your TV shows and all that stuff. It gets towards the end of the year, and it's like, what's coming back? What's being renewed? What's canceled? What's going someplace else?
Well, I really appreciate that vote of confidence and the encouragement. And really, this is what WATD is all about. On the way in, I had the great pleasure and opportunity to stop by Mr. Perry's office on the way in through the Talk Information Center, and I had a nice chat with just a genuine man who has created such a wonderful, wonderful institution here on the South Shore.
Yes, he has. Yes.
Without a doubt. Now, 48 years, I believe that there was an anniversary.
Yes, about a week ago now. It was either the 7th or the 8th.
I believe so. It ties in with Paul Ponder's first show in season 1 last year in 2024. But, Tim, you've been with us, 25 years now?
Yes, 25, yes.
Wow, that's great.
Thank you.
It seems like every time I tune in, you're behind the scenes, you're on the radio. Do you ever go home?
I do go home. I have a... Yes. No, I'm only here 3 days a week. It just maybe that's when you tune in. Oh, there's Tim again. There he is.
I guess so. There he is. Yep. Yeah. He's behind the glass.
Like last year at the Christmas party, when I saw Joyce there, one of our lovely salespeople who's been here actually longer than I have, maybe by a couple years. But it's like, oh, Tim, every time I tune in on Wednesday night, there's Tim. Oh, I turn in Saturday morning, there's Tim. Oh, I tune in Sunday night, oh, there's Tim.
I guess those are the nights that I'm listening.
Yeah. Well, thank you. You know, it's an honor to be here. There's not many of these stations left. You know, we don't pretend to be in Boston. We embrace the locality. That's what I love about this station, and all the high school sports and the local talk shows, and just it's really nice.
It really is tremendous. So, again, a shout-out to Mr. Perry for welcoming me, but also to Rob Hackler. Rob just does a fabulous job, and I love listening to him on the morning news show. He does a great job.
Yes, he does, and I think his show, the morning show, just celebrated an anniversary, too. Let me see if I can find the newsletter real quick. But and early next year, I think we've got some big stuff coming to the South Shores morning news.
Well, that's fabulous.
Yeah,
that's
I think some old co-hosts are coming back, and let's man, I'm Do you have something to fill in with?
Oh, sure.
I'm just trying to find this real quick. I'm sorry.
I'm going to give a shout out to Larry Nelson as well, who is really an institution here. He's a wealth of knowledge.
Engineer extraordinaire.
Oh, without a doubt. Yep. And I remember meeting Larry years ago, way back when, BITD, as my daughters would say, when I was a guest on the Sports Exchange with Arthur Boyle and Coach Bill Wilhelm, of course. And I would see Larry behind the glass and chat with him, and we actually share some mutual friends up in the Malden Medford area. And it's one of those small world, but I wouldn't want to paint it departments.
Right.
Absolutely. Yeah, Tim is scrolling through his phone to maybe give us some breaking news.
Yes, celebrated 25 years last month, and planning a celebration for 2026 for current and former members of the morning team. So more information on that coming and details to come.
Well, we'll have to check our local listing for that.
Yes. Well, it'll be here, WATD. I'm sure it'll be on Facebook. Rob will keep us in the know.
Absolutely, as he always does.
Yes, every morning, 5 to 10 a.m.
Absolutely. Yes. He does a great job. So thanks again, Rob Hackler, for just being there as a point of contact with Mr. Perry, Larry Nelson, all the great people. And also, too, a quick shout-out. I was going to do it later on in the podcast, but Quinn Kelly and Bill Vost did an absolutely incredible job last week with the Super Bowl coverage. And, I felt like I was at Gillette, but I was in the comfort of a warm restaurant in a warm car, but it must have been freezing out there in Gillette last week. Yeah,
it was a bit blustery, bit chilly, but hey, it's football weather, you know.
Absolutely.
And you're in high school. The thermometer hasn't connected to the brain yet, so you don't feel the cold. You just get out there and do your thing.
Absolutely. Right, whatever it takes. But a great job, too, Quinn Kelly, and he's doing a really fine job. I love listening to him on his daytime show during the week, and he's doing a fabulous job and really doing very well. He and Christine James have a great rapport, and really and Dan McCready. Dan McCready does a great job, too. I love listening to Dan.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's our superhero newsman, I guess we could call him.
Absolutely. Right. Without a doubt.
Should be the Superman music playing under him when he intros the news, but it's all right. We all have our own style. You do a great job, Dan.
He does.
I love you.
He does indeed. He does indeed. We're going to have to get all of you up to Pearl Street Station Restaurant for karaoke.
Yeah. That would be good.
A Friday or Saturday night.
Yeah. You'd have to coordinate with everyone, and hopefully we'll be there.
We'll make that happen. And now at this point, we're going to go into our archaic, iconic, awesome Pod Pro Entertainment Techie Toolbox segment with Techie Talonzo Amos and Ms. Shelley Wolf, global media firm owner of Toolbox Entertainment, vice president of technology literacy for PodPro Entertainment, a past Paul Ponders podcast guest, episode number 35, and the consistent anchor of my successful first season, Shelley Wolf.
Good morning, Paul. How are you doing?
I am doing well, Shelley. Thanks for waiting while Tim and I are just chatting about this wonderful radio station we're on at WATD.
Gushing about the station.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
It's all true. Seriously.
Yes, I've been listening, and you guys are doing some great work down there. It's so honored to be part of it and watch it grow. And just local media is so important to every community. So it's great to see that the radio station really stays focused on local content from where it's at. So I appreciate that.
Absolutely, 48 years and counting, and onward and upward we go.
Absolutely.
Well, Shelley, really, I want to thank you for a great first season. Looking forward to season number 2, and hopefully we're going to have you in studio visiting us once or twice over the next month or 2 or 3, whatever fits into your very, very busy schedule, your travel schedule and all. But it really is an absolute delight to have you. In fact, just providing us with some really great techie tips. I'm trying to keep up with them on my PS and All marketing group blog, and I look forward to hearing more tips, but especially today. So what do you have for our listeners in WATD world today?
Well, today we are going to do a bit of an end-of-year tech check, right? Because before we know it, the year is going to be coming to a close, and there will be very few things that we can do in less than 30 minutes that can save us some money, protect our privacy, and in January you'll feel a whole lot lighter. We're going to be talking about this because as we close in on the end of the year and the weeks are flying by, I wanted us to get ahead of the game, and that way it gives us a little bit more time, and you may be getting some new tech for holidays, so it would be good to be in a good space and be prepared. So why does this matter? Well, we all carry a lot of digital clutter the same way that we carry emotional clutter, physical clutter, all the clutter that might exist out there. So old apps, outdated settings, all these unused subscriptions that quickly and quietly drain us, right? Our money, our batteries, our attention, or even our energy. So think of it as a tech reset, not a detox, just a simple cleanup. So we're going to give you 5 quick tech moves that you can do, which is one of them being that you could back up what you would actually think about if you were heartbroken to lose that phone. So if you lost your phone or your computer crashed, it's old, the computer dies, what would be most heartbreaking to you? Would it be losing those photos, your contacts, those important notes? So it's really important to do cloud backups or back up to an external drive. Either of them will work really, really well, but you do want to back up your tool, your memories and your important information. Remember, phones get lost, they get dropped. Again, things get updated, and believe it or not, they do age out, and there's no one there to support it. So we do want to think about what does that look like. So if this is something that's happened to you, think of it like this. If your phone disappeared tonight, what would you miss tomorrow? Back it up today. Cancel those subscriptions that you have forgotten about. You want to remember that you are still here, and those settings are still there in your area. So streaming apps, free trials are meant to be canceled. Go in, and a quick way to do that is check settings and hit subscriptions. Think about it. Even if you spend $5 a month, it adds up to $60 a year, which is real quick. I know, for example, I spend $4 a day on coffee, so I went and bought myself a coffee maker so that I could save a few dollars just so that I have a different piece of technology to add to the list, right? But it's real easy, and again, it's subscriptions like, we all sign up for those quick, easy, free subscriptions that are like, oh, it'll be a week for free, and it slips our mind. We get so busy. Update those devices. I know we've had conversations about when's a good time to update, when's a bad time to update. But again, if you're finding your devices are acting a bit funny, slowing down, crashing out, it's just like these are new updates. It is essential at that time. Updates aren't just new features. More times than not these days, it is really about fixing those security holes and bugs because they are rolling out new features and security patches all the time. Do it overnight. None of us want to sit around waiting for our devices, so do it while you're sleeping. set it up, make sure your devices are plugged in because the updates will not run without that. So just, again, making sure that you are plugged in. An outdated phone is like leaving your front door unlocked. So, again, you just want to make sure that you are updating the unnecessary stuff so you stay protected. Delete apps that you don't use. Fewer apps equals better battery plus less data tracking. If you haven't used it for 3 months, you're probably safe to say you can remove it from your phone. They also have easy to reload. So, like, if you go back into the App Store, it's quick just to open it and it'll install with all the newest updates. Check your privacy settings on social apps. This is going to be really important. We're going to be talking this in the coming weeks. But who can see your post? Which apps can have location access? Remove permissions that don't need anymore. These are so important. Things like Gemini and Meta, which is part of Facebook, are looking into your personal info currently and training their systems. So next week, we're going to talk about how to protect yourself from AI systems that are capturing some information. And again, you don't owe every app your location. So, yes, it's nice to have that on your pictures. Where was I on this date? Where's the location? But, again, is it necessary or is it not? You have to ask yourself, how much of my information am I going to put out there? The one myth of the week that we're going to start introducing each week is clearing all your apps will make your phone faster. The truth is, closing apps constantly can actually use more battery. What does help, though, is deleting those unused apps, updating your phone, and restarting it once in a while. Your phone is smarter than we give it a lot of credit for. So, again, you don't need a new phone or you don't need new apps in January. You just need a cleaner relationship with the technology that you already have. So, again, thinking about tech should be your support in your life, but it should not be running you.
Interesting. So the myth of the week is a new feature you'll be incorporating with the tips, and thank you for that myth.
Yeah. Yep. We want to give some myths out there because there's a lot of mythical information that people wonder and think about. So I thought it would be a good thing to throw in as part of these tips. So.
Interesting. But do you think, and this is kind of weird, I've had a conversation with my staff members, with other people and all, when your battery starts to get low and you start to have all sorts of issues, do you think that the carrier is basically trying to get you into the store for a free upgrade?
Absolutely. Okay. Unfortunately, these companies have very much come out and said that they do try to stronghold the phones, right, or the technology and slow them down, which is also part of a whole bigger conversation around legislation and how legislation manages the tech companies and how the tech companies manage and have access to be able to do that. But really, it's about just trying to keep your phone clean. But over time, within a 3 to 5 year range, we are literally making devices that unfortunately are being pushed to the limits by the carriers at this time.
Unbelievable. Well, we'll have to, in fact, talk more about that down the road and maybe work with local legislators and all and any advocates out there to see what is going on. Absolutely. We would love to talk more about that. Without a doubt. So, Shelley, how do our listeners in Paul Ponders Land contact you?
Yeah, well, for more information, they can contact us at info@podproentertainment.com.
Absolutely. Have to have that .com on there. And how is Techie Chalonzo? I haven't spoken to him in a couple of days.
Yeah, well, Techie Chalonzo is at those basketball tryouts for those young youth today. So, I know they're working on getting all the youth on some basketball teams, and so that they can start a great basketball season as we roll into the new year. So from what I know, he's doing well, and he actually just engaged in some new technology and, is working on some content creation pieces for folks and individuals and businesses. So if anybody out there is interested and needs some not only information about tech tips, but content creation, we've got the resources for you.
Oh, without a doubt. And I hear that there's going to be a resurgence of Around the Rim.
Yes, Around the Rim will be relaunching, and we're going to be taking a little bit of a new approach to it. So, but again, utilizing all these newfangled technologies that exist, right? We must make sure that we're trying them, testing them, and practicing with them. So, yep.
That is fabulous. Well, Shelley, I want to thank you again for being part of Paul Ponders, and we'll be posting whatever tips that we're able to post on the PS&All Marketing Group blog and all. And until we meet again, I want to thank you again for being on.
Absolutely. Thanks for always having me.
#Indeed.
#Imagine.
Indeed. Thanks, Shelley.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, as Arthur Boyle says, it's not time to make the donuts, it's time to pay some bills. So let's hear from our sponsors.
Have you heard about Pembroke Collision? Price and quality don't often collide under the same roof. Not so at Pembroke Collision at 192 Manakesett Street in Pembroke. Pembroke Collision will work with you and your insurance company to get you back on the road in a safe and satisfactory vehicle. Put your trust in Ben Bastianelli and his crew at Pembroke Collision. Just call 781-293-4040 or find them on Facebook. Pembroke Collision. Happy to work for you. Have you tried Bryantville Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that's steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were 3 deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email mike@northeasternfence.com.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
They know that Santa's on his way. He's loading lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really know how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase for kids from 1 to 92. Although it's been said many times, many ways. Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year to you.
We are back. Thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD, presented by Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus, where they have fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors. You just heard a wonderful snippet of Gordon Michaels getting ready for his Winter Wonderland Spectacular concert this coming Thursday, the 18th, at 7 p.m. at Pearl Street Station Restaurant. And appearing with Gordon is Mark Roderick and Stephanie P. Bullion, with Michael Larson on the piano. Tickets are $35 each, and we are accepting dinner reservations. And Gordon Michaels, if you haven't heard Gordon perform at local establishments, is just an incredible musician, entertainer, and this is going to be a really great show at Pearl Street Station Restaurant, Winterland Spectacular. And please log into GordonMichaels.com to get whatever available tickets are in fact remaining. I believe there are 10 tickets remaining for this delightful show. So again, GordonMichaels.com. Check it out. Pearl Street Station Restaurant coming up this coming Thursday. And beautiful rendition. Thank you, Gordon. So the call-in number here at WATD is 781-837-4900. You could also find us on the Odyssey app. If you like my daughter Ann in California, hi Annie, how you doing today? Or Chef Felipe back at Pearl Street Station Restaurant, huge shout out to you, and thanks for listening on the Odyssey app. And shout out to all those nonprofits out there. If you in fact want to be mentioned, if you want to appear on the show, please give me a shout out. Shoot me an email at paul@paulponders.com. Now, I had intended a celebration of my 1-year anniversary of the show last week, but we were going to have a little something at the Stellwagen Brewery from 1:15 to 2:30. But the Saturday programming last week was preempted by Quinn Kelly's wonderful play call with the high school Super Bowl. And again, Quinn, great job. You did a fabulous job with Bill on on all the coverage. And we'll be scheduling something after the first of the year. I want to meet some of our listeners, just celebrate. Maybe we'll grab a pint, and we'll spend some time together after Paul Ponder's show. And also, too, I wanted to have do a shout out to a friend of mine, Dave Cayazzo, who played in the Phillies organization. And Dave wrote a book 10, 12 years ago or so, and the name of the book was Life Tried to Throw Me a Curveball. I Overcame Diabetes to Become a Pro. Well, I had done an audiobook. It was my first and only audiobook, and I hope to do another one within the next year or so for a client. But it's one of those things that I always wanted to do an audiobook, and we recently enhanced the audiobook, and we're re-releasing it on my site, on the PS&All Marketing Group site, but also on my Spotify. And you could actually get that audiobook. And it's a really great book. So if you want to listen to me for 37 chapters and an epilogue, a prologue and an epilogue, and hear Dave as well, it's really a great story about his travels, through the playing for the Inner City Athletics, Augustine Athletics in the Inner City League, and in the Phillies organization, and his travels, being a restaurant owner, working at the Marriott as lead concierge. So many great stories, and Dave Cayazzo is always full of great stories, and you really should check out the audiobook that is available on my Spotify. Now, listeners can go to paulponders.com to find subscription links to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube, as well as finding past Paul Ponders on WATD shows. My next Paul Ponders podcast will be dropping tomorrow night at midnight with my next guest and dear friend, Bob Hilberg. Bob, you're on the line?
Hey, Paul, congratulations. Year number 2. Let's go.
Absolutely, without a doubt. Well, Bob, welcome back. And a few weeks ago, we sat down for the Paul Ponders podcast with Techie Talonzo, and we went deep on Sarah Bradley Fulton and the Boston Tea Party. And that full 22-minute interview is going to be dropping at midnight tomorrow night, then 7 o'clock Monday morning on Spotify and iHeartMedia. But everyone knows Paul Revere and Sam Adams, but Sarah Bradley Fulton actually painted the Mohawk faces on the night of the Boston Tea Party, which is coming up on, the anniversary is coming up, I believe, on Monday. So this is so timely. We're having you here. But do you think it's safe to say that Sarah Bradley Fulton was the most underrated hero of 1773 in the Boston Tea Party?
Yeah, it's just pretty interesting to say that. Everyone knows, and you hear the pictures, and you see the pictures and you hear the story about, these people were dressed up as wild Indians, and who come up with that idea, and then who, if you think about it, if you're in the publications or any kind of promotion stuff, there had to be some meetings beforehand, and you got to meet, you got to put the makeup on, and then afterwards you got to take the makeup off. So where did all that happen? Well, Sarah Bradley Fulton's brother, Nathaniel, lived right in Griffin's Wharf, which was a block or two away from the Boston Tea Party, where there was about anywhere from 30 to 150 people, most of them teenagers and young kids, that attacked the ship, the first ship, and then the second ship and the third ship. So there was 3 ships that they actually had to jump into and be really organized. You get 4 different levels. So you had some that go down to the bottom of the ship, and then the first floor, the second floor, third floor, and then someone on the roof, the deck, to take the crates and throw them into the harbor. So, I always wondered, when I'm watching a movie, where is the camera and where's the microphone and how do they set it up and where's the angle and all that kind of stuff. I'm not watching a movie. I'm saying, how do they capture this story? And that's something that always fascinated me, is who come up with that idea. And there was a series of meetings, and they had 20 days to decide whether or not they were going to pay the tax of all these 340 crates, I guess, of tea. And they had a meeting and said, well, we really don't want to ship it back to England. And if it gets back to England, it takes a couple months to get there. So we got to really destroy it. So that was one of the first really major rebellious acts that we did. And a lot of them met at some of the little stores, and there was a printing place. But Sarah came up with the idea of, a lot of these people had Indian feathers and maybe some clothing, because they had revolted before. There was a French and Indian War in the colonies, and some of them had that. But she said, we got to disguise your faces. So they had all different kind of things that they had to put on their face and darken their face, and then they had to take it off. So they met there, and Sarah and her sister, and put all this makeup on her husband and her brother, and then a few other people, and next thing you know, you see all these pictures of these Mohawk Indians, and Mohawk was a really special tribe of courage and fortitude, and the British officers who were guarding the ship said, we're not messing with this, we don't know who this is, we'll leave the Indians alone. Next thing you know, they had 30, 60, and up to 120 people to take about 3 hours to dump the tea into the harbor. But Sarah was a major factor of that. And then she had the lye soap and all that kind of stuff come back over and get it done, and then get into the crowd, and they won't know who did it. And it took many, many years for people to find out who it was, because everything was secret, and most of the stories that came out about who was on the ship come out 20, 30, 40, 50 years later, when there was one guy that he was in his 90s, and he denied it. About 6 months before he died, he says, yes, I was there. I'll tell you, in my deathbed, I had to keep that secret for a long, long time. So a lot of these stories came alive in the early 1820s or so.
That is super.
To find out who was there. Yeah.
That's super. Well, our listeners in Paul Ponders land will have to tune into the Paul Ponders podcast that is dropping tomorrow night at midnight on YouTube. So it'll be really great to hear that. And if you just want to touch upon, before we start to wind down, if you want to touch upon the statue, the fundraiser that's going on in Medford to memorialize Sarah Bradley Fulton.
Yeah, so the mother of the Tea Party was just one of the things that she did during the Revolutionary War. She was actually a nurse at the Battle of Bunker Hill when people were getting injured, and there was someone that had a bullet in their cheek, and she removed it, and many years later he came over and said, thank you for that. And she's like, well, I was doing a lot of different things, but thank you for coming to the house and thanking me for that. And then she was a spy, too. So there was more to Sarah than just decorating the faces of these Boston Tea Party revelers. And we've been working on this for 5 years, and Robert Shure, S-H-U-R-E, of Skylight Studios, has built this 6-foot-high bronze statue that we're putting on the grounds of the Medford City Hall in Patriots Weekend 2026. So we're just finishing up the fundraising. We've raised over $80,000, and we need just a little bit more to put it on the top, but it's going to happen. So if you just want to donate $25, $50, we've had over 400 people donate just $25, which is amazing.
That is
from all over the country. So $25, $50, it all adds up.
It really does.
Looking Back at Medford History is the website. Looking Back at MedfordHistory.com. And you can go to the Facebook group, Looking Back at Medford History, or go to the website, Looking Back at Medford History. Just donate $25, $50. We've had people obviously donate more than that. But the Boston Tea Party is coming up, like you said, on Tuesday the 16th. It's a big deal. I'll be there at a meeting tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of stuff at the South End Meeting House that kind of puts all this together, the Sons of Liberty and the Daughters of American Revolution and all these historical societies that I've been touching base with. We want to get Sarah in the same spot as having a statue like Abigail Adams has in Quincy or Deborah Sampson has in Sharon. So let's put another statue of a woman here, especially a Revolutionary War heroine and a mother of 9, by the way, and she lived to 94 years old. So
God bless. Wow.
She had quite the life, but she risked her life a couple times, rowing across the river and getting information to George Washington. And after the war, George Washington came to her house and congratulated her and thanked her for her spying and being such a courageous woman. And then Lafayette came in 1824 to her house, Fulton Heights in Medford, and there's a whole section of Medford named after her. So she was recognized not only by Marquis de Lafayette and George Washington, but now it's time for us to recognize her, put a statue up for her. And we appreciate everyone listening. Looking Back at MedfordHistory.com is the place you can help us.
Bob Hilberg, I thank you for always just being there with great history. You're also the New England Patriots historian, and you've written a couple of books on the Patriots and all, and you are just a true gem. And a dear friend, I want to thank you for being on Paul Ponders.
Well, I want to congratulate you on the audiobook, and Dave, because Ezzo is just a super guy. I want to say hi to him, and hello to Annie. I met Annie, and she's a sweetheart, and love all your family. And I just got 2 words to really get people through life: have gratitude and be resilient. If you get gratitude and resilience, anything can happen. You can make anything happen. You can get through anything. So Merry Christmas to everyone, and looking forward to celebrating your anniversary on WATD and having people listening to the Paul Ponders podcast about Sarah Bradley Fulton. I'm excited to have people listen to that and hear that first thing Monday morning, but certainly if people are up at midnight, I'll be up at midnight listening to it as well when it breaks Sunday night. So, and go Patriots, beat Buffalo. It's a big game for them. Without a doubt, my friend. And Bob, please say hi to Millie for me, and we will catch up with you soon, my friend. Appreciate everything. You're a good friend. God bless. God bless. Thanks, be well Paul. Now. Indeed. That's it. Hashtag indeed, my friend. Thank you. Thanks. Be well. Bye. And with that, we're going to hear from our sponsors.
Have you tried Brian Phil Pizza Kitchen? From antipasto to baked ziti, specialty gourmet burgers, over 30 different kinds of pizza, and that steak and cheese. Come on in and they'll show you why they made a reputation as being the best steak and cheese sub in the area. There's nobody that puts it together like your friends at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Chicken wings and fingers and the famous flavors complement their stir-fry dinners. If subs and wraps aren't enough for your table tonight, expand into Greek and Caesar salads, maybe even a calzone. Anyway, it's all good at the Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. And don't forget, invite them to your next catered event. They'll bring the food. Bryantville Pizza Kitchen. Call them at 781-293-9857. Have you heard about Pembroke Collision? Price and quality don't often collide under the same roof. Not so at Pembroke Collision at 192 Manakesett Street in Pembroke. Pembroke Collision will work with you and your insurance company to get you back on the road in a safe and satisfactory vehicle. Put your trust in Ben Bastianelli and his crew at Pembroke Collision. Just call 781-293-4040 or find them on Facebook. Pembroke Collision, happy to work for you.
Are you looking for fencing and outdoor products? Look no further than Northeastern Fence and Supply Corporation of Saugus. When owner Mike Payne's customers have been asked why they chose Northeastern Fence, many said that there were 3 deciding factors: customer respect, excellent customer service, and quality products. I say that you need to add in 70-plus years of a family-run business with truly experienced sales and installation teams. So if you are in the market for fences for your kids, dogs, and ugly neighbors, please call Mike Payne and his crew at 781-233-3324 or email mike@northeasternfence.com.
Paul Ponders continues on 95.9 WATD. Once again, Paul Solano.
We are back, and thanks for listening to Paul Ponders on WATD. The call-in number is 781-837-4900. At this point in the program, we usually have the segment of health and wellness survival tips with Ms. Sharon Fillier. Sharon has a singing gig this week and will hopefully be back next week. Now in season number 2, we are resurrecting the financial wing of Olympic Proportions, sponsored by PS&L Marketing Group and Riverworks Credit Union, NMLS number 410564. And it's back, and Mr. Paul Crowley, a longtime friend of mine from Riverworks Credit Union, is on the line. Paul.
Hi, Paul. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you, my friend. Great to hear your voice. Great to have you on this resurrected segment and all. And you've been in the mortgage business quite a long time. So if you want to let our listeners know what you've been doing over the past umpteen years.
Okay. It's kind of an odd transition for me. I started out as an accountant, got an accounting degree back in the 80s with a minor in economics, worked in the public accounting and then the securities industry, worked in trading and operations. And through all that, I developed into a tax planner, personal and business financial planner. I did administration, kind of got a good, broad sense of how finances work, and have been able to use that as a significant tool in my role as a loan officer at Riverworks Credit Union. When most loan officers are focused on the sales aspect of it and narrowly focused on, just developing a loan for a client for either to purchase a home or for refinancing, I bring to the table a significant background in all elements of finance. So I believe that has helped my clients out significantly more than you would get from a typical loan officer.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt, my friend, and with my doing some business development work with Riverworks Credit Union, it's one of those things that you are there, you're looking at the whole gamut, the whole picture and all, and you just really, you get it. And it's really great to have you on this segment. And I know today's topic of discussion is going to focus around interest rates and the broad implications for the coming year. So if you want to take that away in the 6-7 minutes we have left.
Sure. So let's just start by talking about what the current interest rate environment is for mortgages. If you were to purchase a home and wanted to get a conventional 30-year mortgage with 20% down, having normal credit, or I shouldn't say normal, but adequate credit is probably the better way to say it. Currently, the rates are in the 6.5 to 6 3/4 range, and it's kind of sticker shock for a lot of people because in the last, prior to the interest rates going up to this level, they were practically at zero. You could get a loan for 2.5% at one point. So the impact that these rates are having on people purchasing homes, especially where the prices are so high now, is making affordability an issue. It's not like it was back in, say, 2005, 2006, 2007, before the credit collapse, when interest rates were the same, but housing was much more affordable. You could buy a house for $300,000 or $400,000. Now you're looking at $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 for the same house. So the similar rate has a more adverse impact on people today. It's kind of frustrating. And then couple that with the decline in supply of real estate, which is primarily because most of the people that have homes that would maybe be interested in selling now have an interest rate at 2.5%, 3%, and as a result of having such a low rate, if they were to sell their house, they would be forced into the same problem that the non-homeowner has right now, and that they would have to buy it with the higher interest rate. So couple all those factors keeps driving up the price of the real estate. Interest rates are not moving down like you would hope they would, especially with the Fed lowering rates like they have been for the last 4 to 6 months. So we have a very difficult situation for people.
Without
when
a doubt.
When you think about how the Fed operates, a lot of people say, "Oh, interest rates went down 25 basis points. That means I'll be able to get 25 basis points improvement on my mortgage." But that's not the way it works. It's kind of a lagging indicator. What happens is the rates are driven by the market. So as the rates stay where they are, the market is anticipating what the Fed will do. So then the Fed goes and does it, and if they don't do it as quickly as they were anticipating, it actually causes rates to go higher. If it responds the way they were anticipating, the market that is, then the rates would tend to follow and decline. And until there's a significant drop in the interest rates, from a market perspective, these rates aren't really going anywhere, I don't think. Very difficult times for prospective home buyers. So I think what's going to happen is we're going to have to have a forced reduction in the market where the Fed gets aggressive, and that would maybe drive the prices down, which would spur more interest in buying without actually raising the prices of homes. So it's a real challenge nowadays for the new home buyer, and no real simple answers. And I'd like to also talk about the non-conventional mortgages that they have. I get a lot of phone calls from clients who are interested in getting an FHA mortgage or VA loan, which, the advantages of those types of loans are that they are little to no money down. For example, you can get an FHA loan for 3 to 5% down payment, but it doesn't really give you a better interest rate. In fact, with the purchase mortgage insurance that the purchases of mortgages require, you effectively pay a higher rate of interest on your mortgage if you have the smaller down payment. So if I could give any advice to folks in the audience who are thinking about buying a home, if you can figure out how to get to a 20% down payment, you're so much better off in terms of being able to afford the property. First of all, you're not borrowing as much money, and secondly, you don't get socked with the purchase mortgage insurance and the effective interest rate, which can be anywhere from 3/8 to 50 basis points higher than conventional mortgages.
Wow. Well, Paul Crowley, you've been so helpful and so insightful on this, and look forward to hearing from you in future weeks, and also to our colleague, Olympian and former Boston Bruins winger Dave Jensen, who's senior loan officer, will also be on other shows as well. But I want to thank you so much for being on today. And how do our listeners contact you?
Oh, it's easy. Call me at Riverworks Credit Union, the main office, or you can call me on my cell phone, which is 781-513-3721.
That is fabulous. Paul Crowley, I want to thank you for the time, and we'll catch up with you soon, my friend.
Good to talk to you, Paul.
Nice chatting with you. Be well, my friend. Thank you.
You too. Bye.
Well, I want our listeners to stay tuned to WATD for the memories with Ron Dwyer, the grand poobah of oldies rock and roll. Ron, you are a true leader of the pack and great musical memories of yesteryear. So thank you, Ron. Thanks again to Tim, Arthur, Shelley, Bob, and Paul Crowley and our advertisers. But really, thank you, listeners in WATD World and Beyond. Here's the season number 2 and beyond. Keep Paul pondering. #Indeed.